Hello everyone, Jackie Edwards here. Welcome to the Women Power Wealth Show. Now today I want to talk about building the bridge. Now this is one of the concepts I go through with all of my clients. This is like the very first thing that we do. Now all that we do with building the bridge is we really figure out where we're going with our investments. This is how we make our entire strategy. So this is pretty key and a pretty important part of the process. But I'd like to break it down and make it as simple as possible. So I'm going to give you some actionable ways that you can get started right now on building your bridge to help you figure out which investments are right for you. Now I've got a super awesome download that you can go ahead and grab, and I'll make sure I put the link in the show notes so that you can follow along. It'll give you loads of investment ideas along with a more detailed explanation on building the bridge. All right, but for right now, let's just talk about what that bridge is. Now really it's our journey. It's our path to our future. So when I talk about building the bridge, another example I like to use is when you're programming your sat-nav or your GPS system. So you're going on a trip. That bridge, that trip is that journey. So we have to be really, really clear on, where are we trying to get to? What is our end destination? What is our future? What does that look like? And then we look at, where are we starting from? Where are we at right now in our journey? What does our current life look like? What are our skills? Where are we at right now? And then we take that and we build the journey. We build the bridge from our current position to our future vision. And we figure out what investments we need each step along the way to get to that future vision. What investments will follow our values? What investments will get us all the way through to really harness what that future, what that legacy can look like for us. And each of our journeys, each of our bridges is going to be completely different because we've got completely different starting places and we've got completely different ending places. We've got completely different futures in mind. For instance, not all of you probably want to start an alpaca farm like I have. That's probably not part of your future vision. Whereas it's a huge part of mine for the lifestyle that I want to live. Having a lovely little house in the open countryside with my fuzzy animals that I can cuddle and look at anytime I want. That is my dream. Your dream will probably or might be completely different. You might look at, having your big city penthouse flat that overlooks, the views of the city surrounding you. And you like the lights and the passion and the buzz of the city. Maybe that's what your future looks like and that's where you want to get to. Or maybe it's a house in the mountains. Maybe you just have houses all over because you love to travel and you want to go anywhere, anytime. You can rent the rest of them out in the meantime. So we all have a different place we're getting to. And it's not just where we live. Are you needing to save money for your children's education? Do you want them to go to private school? Do you need university funds? What impact do you want to make on the world? What causes are really close to your heart? Sustainability? Climate change? Saving the oceans? What is going to take you on the journey? What is going to help you build that bridge? Now, let's talk practicality. How do you actually do this? How do you figure out what that journey is, what that bridge is? So we start with where we're at now. And I've got a super specific questionnaire that I go through, my blueprint with all of my clients. And I ask loads of questions to really get in touch with who they are now and where they're at. The first step is understanding your finances. So you need to spend this time, and you should be doing this regularly. You need to spend the time understanding exactly what finances you have right now. What bank accounts do you have? What investment accounts? Where is all of your wealth? What is your net worth? And you need to be careful because there's always those tricky little ones that we forget about. That retirement account that you had from a company you worked for 20 years ago. Or, those couple of accounts that you've forgotten about. So you need to spend some time gathering it all together. No matter how big or small an investment is, you want to make sure you've got them all in one place because, if you're not using that money where it's at, even if it's a small amount, that small amount can make a big impact somewhere else, to somebody else that you could invest in. So make sure you've got a good understanding of how much money you have, what your expenses are, and what your net worth is. That's the first starting point for everything. And then I ask questions kind of about who you are, to really understand, what are your skills? What do you enjoy doing? What is fun for you? Where do you live right now? And then I like to really focus on kind of the impact that we want to make. So what impact is important to you? And I use the UN 17 Global Goals. So they've put these together. If you're not familiar with them, you can just Google the UN Global Goals, and it gives you a list of specific goals that it really wants everybody to be able to look at, pick out the ones that are important to them so that we can really start changing the world. So I like to kind of piggyback off of these, because why not? If we're all working towards specific things, that way we can really make a difference. So if you look at those global goals and pick maybe your top 3. So again, maybe it's sustainability and climate change and saving the oceans. Or maybe it's, ending poverty. Maybe it is, women's rights and equality. So again, there's 17 of them. There will be some, for sure, that resonate with you. And so that helps us figure out where we're currently at and gets that full understanding of who we are right now. And then we need to look at who we're going to be in the future. What does that future vision look like for us? So this is where you get to dream a little bit. You get to decide, where do I want to live? What does my lifestyle look like? Do I have all the fast cars? Do I have 1 or 2 really good, solid, reliable cars? Do I've got my camper van that I go traveling in? Do I fly business class, first class? How many holidays do I take a year? Where do I go on vacation? How does my family live? What kind of food do we eat? Do we eat organic? Do I make all of my own meals? Do we have a cook, a housekeeper? Do we go out to restaurants all the time? What does that lifestyle look like? And start putting some figures next to it. So how much does that lifestyle cost? Often it's a lot less than we expect it does. You can rent your house instead of buying it outright. You can buy it with a mortgage, so you're making monthly payments. The same with your cars. You can lease them. You don't have to buy them up front. You don't need to spend that cash that you could be investing somewhere else. So for me, instead of buying my car, I lease my cars. So I can buy an asset that pays me a monthly amount. So it pays me £500 a month, and that's what pays for my car. So I haven't just given away a lump of money on a car. Is not an appreciating asset. A car is almost always, unless you're investing in really cool classic cars, it's always going to depreciate. It's going to be worth less next year and next year and next year. So I don't need to buy it. I can buy a house that'll pay me $500 a month. And then that $500 a month goes directly to my car payments. Amazing. And I've still got the house at the end of it. So that's the things that we want to think of when we're building this bridge. So I really want you to understand what that future life looks like for you and how much is it going to cost you, so that we can figure out the investments that you need to get you there. How much is your children's tuition going to be for university? How much do you want to set up for funds for them? What kind of charities do you want to be involved in? What kind of impact do you want to have made on the world? What does your legacy look like? And then we'll build the bridge. And so once we know those points, so we've got our starting point and our ending point with all of my clients, then I sit down and we start to come up with, how does that investment plan look? What investments really help us to get from point A to point B? And actually, there'll be lots of different points along the way, because, where you're at now and where you're at 20 years from now is a big gap. So we're going to want to look at, where do you need to be 12 months from now? Where do you need to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and then 20 years from now? Because your investments are going to change over time. The investments that you have right now are probably going to be different than the ones you need 10 years from now, because you're going to have different goals and be doing different things. And I think a lot of people miss that. They think, I've got to figure out something now that I'm going to invest in forever. and it's never going to change. I'm always going to have the same strategy. But our interests, our values, our vision changes over time. So we want our investments to be flexible like that. Of course, some that you have will be long-term investments that they'll be around for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Others are going to be shorter term that are going to go towards our shorter term goals. And that's what makes it fun and exciting. And they don't have to be boring investments. There are so many different opportunities out there for investing that can be fun, that can be impactful, and that can get you to your goals. And that's how we're going to build it, because we have to know where we're starting from and where we're getting to, and then that bridge is our beautiful investment journey. So hopefully that started to get some wheels turning in your head and get you excited about what the possibilities are out there. Now again, if you want to, make sure you check out the link to grab your guide. So 70 different investment ideas and a more detailed guide on how you can build that bridge specific to your situation and how it can look like to go from different investment to different investment to different investment as you go along your journey of life. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. Check out that guide. The details are in the show notes. And also make sure you've popped over to my Women Power Wealth Elite community if you're not already a member. Everything I share gets shared there quicker, and you get direct access to ask me questions anytime, along with access to other amazing, powerful women. So I will see you in the next video.